Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Mutraja here. Now, I've been trying really hard to organize my channel with how I put out the lessons on a weekly basis. So I decided to start doing different series of lessons so it'll be more regular and it'll have a theme to it. Now, I did start the chop builders for bass guitar where we take a musical phrase and we use the phrase to develop our technical dexterity. Now, another series I really want to start doing is music theory. Just talk about everything from very basic stuff to really advanced stuff in relation to music theory. Now, music theory is it's not highly favored by majority of musicians. If you come from a background of say blues, rock blues, and that kind of stuff, you wouldn't really want to bother sitting down and learning harmony or chord substitutions when you play the blues and one note can make a member in the audience cry. So, it's a very subjective scenario for that kind of a musician. But then you want to start playing jazz or you want to write for an orchestra or you want to just be a good composer in a bigger setting of a band and not just your typical rhythm section plus plus kind of a situation. So I figured, you know what, I just want to really talk about music theory and on a weekly basis, just to put out my thoughts, simplify a lot of the things that we have in music theory. Okay, now according to the internet, the definition of music theory is something I find really interesting actually because I don't know, this is the first time I actually looked up the definition of music theory and I was shocked. According to Wikipedia, music theory is the study of the practices and possibilities of music. When was the last time you heard music theory put in that context? I don't think it ever happens because music theory is laid out like a rule book. Do this, do that in order to get this. But you might ask the eternal question, do I need music theory to be a better musician? Now, I can answer this question two ways, okay? Let's say you have a natural talent to play. You have figured out chords, voicings, and you're able to write fairly good, and you can play well. That's a lot of natural ability. Now, when you want to kick it up a notch, you can use music theory, but I have seen countless number of musicians who are just phenomenal players, and their music theory knowledge is very minimal, but it's there. It's there in their own understanding, their own version of it. It's like how Joe Satriani has the pitch axis theory, which is a way of looking at modes, for example. And then someone like me, I don't think modes, I don't talk modes. I never studied modes because I don't see the point. So that is one way where you have quite the ability musically, and then you just want to push it. You just want to push the envelope, and then music theory helps you elevate that. And then the second thing is where you are purely educationally driven. Now, I've met many musicians with PhDs and master's degrees in jazz composition and whatnot. But then when you see them, or listen to them rather, play or write music, it's kind of weird. It sounds too much by the book. It sounds too booky. It's like there's no ounce of feeling or heart to the music. It's just, oh, I have a D major 7 sharp 11. It's so hip. I'm going to put a B flat in there, make it a sharp 5. But there is really no musical purpose of that particular note you're adding. You're just doing it because you know you can do it. So there's a really huge difference between the two I just mentioned, where one is coming from a very musically driven place and the other comes from a purely educationally driven place. Now for me, I like to stay in the middle of it. I am self-taught for the most part. I did go to music college for a bit, but theory never stuck in me, If you ask me now, define a secondary dominant chord, I actually cannot recall what it is by definition or what it is by function or whatever. But sure, I know my dominant chords. Like I can put a dominant chord anywhere I want to, in any context, in any key, compositionally, in the context of improvisation, reharmonization, or arrangements. I know what to do with them. That's because I allow my ear to guide me. But I don't deny that having a theory background of studying dominant chords and their functions, or diminished seventh chords and their functions, it helped me understand better, and it helped me place my ideas a lot more musically instead of it being random or making it sound like I'm not sure of what I'm doing, right? But I must admit, for a good couple of years, technically on the bass, I was getting better, but musically speaking, my musicality, I felt it dragging because of my newly acquired knowledge in music theory. Now, that's something most of us struggle with. We struggle with being able to stop thinking and just play or write, because theory puts forward these ideas and concepts, and now you are intrigued by it, but then you forget the music because now you're focused on the concept alone and how do I make it work, or what is this? Oh, that's cool. So a major seven, a Lydian. Oh, wow. I never thought of that. And then you start writing like an entire album sounding like Lydian. So it gets really tricky to maintain a balance between how much you know and just your overall musicality. So it's very important to know, just because you know so much doesn't make you the best musician on the planet. It's just like how if you have perfect pitch doesn't mean you're a great player. You could have great ears, but if you don't know how to translate the music, there's no point. So it's very important to retain a balance, right? So through this series, we're going to start with very basic stuff, and I invite you all to bring in questions and just keep it open like a discussion. Keep your mind open, keep your ears open, because this is a very controversial segment of music theory, just overall music education. All right, so I'm really excited to be doing this. So hope you guys will dig this new series, and until the next lesson, I guess I'll see you guys in the shed. Peace.